I'm Dr. Bhavika Verma Bhatt, Assistant Professor in the Department of ENT and a proud alumnus of the D.Y. Patil University School of Medicine, Navi Mumbai. I'm glad to be a part of MediTalks Season 2, which has been organized by the MediEscape community and the Alumni Association. And today I'm here to talk on mucormycosis. So let me start by telling you what exactly is mucormycosis. Mucormycosis is a rare but dreadful fungal infection which is caused by the molds called as mucormycetes, which are present normally in the environment. They only cause serious complications when a patient has a low immune system or is on a very pre-existing long-term medication. These fungal spores, they enter into the system either by inhalation and affect the sinuses or the lungs. They also infect the skin by entering through cut open wounds or certain lesions. Who are the patients who are more prone to mucormycosis? It generally affects those who have a low immune system with a pre-existing diabetes mellitus, a heart or liver failure, patients who have cancer who are on chemotherapy or radiotherapy treatment, patients who are on long-term steroids, and those who have undergone a transplant. There has been a lot of speculation on the emergence of black, white, yellow and orange fungus. So let me tell you, all of these are just misnomers and a media created hype. Candida, Aspergillus and mucormycosis are the various funguses that have been there for long and they should be known by their name rather than their color. Also, mucormycosis, which is being called as black fungus, is a myth because the fungus itself is not black in color, but it causes necrosis of the tissues and the tissue appears black. Also, Candida appears as white patches. There has been a lot of speculation about this particular disease in the current pandemic. So let me tell you something. Mucormycosis existed even pre-COVID. We would see about 3 to 4 cases in a year. In the COVID-19 pandemic, these numbers have definitely increased. One main reason for the increase in these numbers could be the use of steroids for the treatment of COVID-19 pneumonitis. Steroids is the mainstay in treatment for the prevention of long-standing lung fibrosis. A triad of COVID-19 with pre-existing diabetes mellitus and steroid therapy gives rise to more chances of mucormycosis. People suffering from COVID-19 who have been in home isolation or who have been admitted to a primary healthcare facility can also develop mucormycosis because many of these patients have been given steroids without monitoring of the blood sugar levels. The COVID-19 disease itself causes a low immunity, thus increasing the chances of a patient to be infected with mucormycosis. Mucormycosis can commonly affect the areas such as the nose, sinuses, eyes and the brain. The usual symptoms that a patient may experience includes swelling over one of the cheeks, pain and tenderness, pain over the nose, unusual discharge from the nose which may be blackish brownish or bloody, pain over the jaw, some lesion over the upper inside of the mouth and black lesions over the nasal bridge. Patients may also present with pulmonary mucormycosis and have symptoms such as fever, cough, shortness of breath and chest pain. Any patient having any of these symptoms should report immediately to a doctor and seek medical help. People are now worried whether there is any cure for the dreadful mucormycosis. So let me tell you how we approach a patient with mucormycosis. Early diagnosis is the key to minimizing the damage which is caused by this fungus. The treatment includes injection of liposomal amphotericin B, antifungal therapy, repeated surgical debridements. If any immunomodulating drugs are there, we may need to stop them. And the main thing is controlling the blood sugar levels. This treatment may be for a duration of about 4 to 6 weeks. Once a patient visits the doctor having symptoms of mucormycosis, there are various scans as well as blood tests that are conducted to confirm our diagnosis. These tests include a complete blood count, a complete diabetic workup, renal function test, and a diagnostic nasal endoscopy with the biopsy. A KOH mount to confirm the presence of the fungus, staining as well as culture needs to be done. CT scan of the paranasal sinuses and the nose needs to be done. In case we are suspecting and spread into the brain, an MRI of the brain also needs to be done. So what are the various do's and don'ts when it comes to mucormycosis? Let me take you through some do's. Always wear a mask at all times outdoors. Preferably wear long sleeve clothes and long trousers so that no open wound is there from where the fungus can enter into your system. Maintain your blood sugar levels, let them not rise. Monitor the blood glucose levels post COVID-19 and also if you are diabetic. Use steroid judiciously. It should be a correct timing with a correct dose for a correct duration. Use clean sterile water when you are using humidifiers for the oxygen. Use antibiotics and antifungals judiciously. Now coming to some don'ts. Do not miss any signs and symptoms. If a patient comes to you with a blocked nose, do not always think of bacterial sinusitis. One must keep fungal sinusitis in mind while treating such patients. Do not hesitate to take any aggressive treatment, whether it is doing a KOH staining, culture and confirm the presence of mucormycosis. Do not lose crucial time in initiating the management of mucormycosis. Lastly, some take-home messages. Mucormycosis isn't contagious, so you can't get it from an infected person. Whenever outdoors, always wear a mask. Whenever you find any symptoms of mucormycosis, please seek immediate medical help as this is very aggressive. Take all the preventive measures, build your immunity, stay home, stay safe.